my name is Richie Pallai Jr., driver of number 39, Hurricane Motorsports, Chevrolet.
In 2006, at only 16 years old, Richie Pallai Jr. burst onto the racing scene in NASCAR's SK Modified Lights division and never looked back.
Richie Pallai Jr. to take down the win.
Richie Pallai Jr. climbs out of his Bosch Platinum Spark Plug car number 14. He is a winner here at Stafford.
When I was 16, I got an opportunity to drive for Jack Root Jr. of ESPN, ABC, and kind of just went from there and took it one season at a time, and we did it together. And then the following year, my dad bought a car and decided to own his own race team. And ever since then, it's gone up and up, and it's crazy because 7 years ago he said he never owned a race car, and now he owns 3. So.
Look out, here comes Richie Pallai. Good run to the bottom. This kid's got some moxie.
A year later, he had already moved up to a higher division, the SK Modifieds. His driving style, leadership, and competitiveness showed he had what it takes to drive next to those who have been driving longer than he's been alive.
And a rookie is taking over the lead in the SK Modifieds on lap number 5. It is Rich Pallai Jr.
Richie Pallai said each and every time out he's been getting stronger and more consistent.
By 2010, Pallai had already climbed his way up to NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour, where he began driving in the highest tier of NASCAR in the Northeast. It isn't easy being only 22 years old and gaining the respect from drivers who are old enough to be his father.
We call it the workings man division. It's the oldest division in NASCAR. So I'm one of the youngest guys in the garage, if not one of the, there's probably maybe 2 other guys that are younger than me. And at first, obviously the competitors don't like it. They don't like the young kids, even though they all were young at one time. But if you just race them hard, most of them will give you respect, some of them never will. But that's just part of the game. Most exciting thing about racing's got to be just racing. I mean, just driving that fast. You're not going to get in trouble for doing it. You don't have to worry about the cops or any of that stuff. But there's a difference between racing and just driving. I mean, everyone thinks they can go out on the road and just go 120 miles an hour and think they could race. It's going that fast when you're next to 30 other guys, inch by inch, is what racing's all about. We go to Bristol, Tennessee, and we're averaging 150 miles an hour. And that's wide open the whole time. And then you go to Loudon or Thompson, you're hitting about 160, 165 at the end of the straightaways. So you're averaging $129 there, so it's pretty cool. So it's not as fast as maybe you see Jeff Gordon going, but it's definitely a thrill.
Back to life. Keith Rocco's looking for some racing room. Bowles is in the middle. Oh,
he splattered
at
the
a
wall.
ton. Richie Pallai, Jeff Malave, the 15 car of Doug Colby, as Rich Pallai hits at a ton off turn number 4.
Driving a race car brings on the possibility of being involved in a wreck, something that Richie and the rest of the drivers out there are no stranger to. The idea of crashing has never stopped him, however. Instead, it has made him stronger.
It wasn't my worst wreck ever, but it was one that hurt probably the most. About 3 months ago, I got turned going into the third turn, and I backed into the wall pretty bad. And it was probably the scariest because when you hit head on, you can see what's about to happen to you. But when you're backing into a wall, you really don't know when you're going to hit. And I actually got pretty hurt in that. It banged my head up pretty good, but part of the game.
It's the last race of the season for the Hurricane Motorsports team at the fall final at Stafford Motor Speedway. With a brand new car that's only seen the track 3 times so far and finished top 10 each time, Richie is looking to keep that streak going this weekend. However, there's much preparation for the team before the car is ready to hit the track.
Just nut and bolt in the car, going through all the plumbing, going to the motor, changing the oil. Scaling the race car takes a day, which is basically scaling the race car is getting all the geometry right on the race car and getting the setup you want for the track. that's an 8-hour project, so that's a day's work. It's a week preparation, so we go through all of that here at the shop, and then when you get to the track, you have another 10 different things you have to do to get NASCAR certified, to get the car inspected and ready for the race.
Just like any sport, practice is an essential part of being successful. All the teams take time during day one to test their cars on the track and make necessary adjustments to get them ready for the race.
Usually in practice, we'll go out with older tires, so we'll either go out with tires that maybe they've been sitting around for a little while, or we go out with tires with 20-30 laps on it, just to get the feel for the car and just to wear in the brakes. And the first 1 or 2 rounds, we kind of do that, and then we'll put on newer tires usually if those are pretty old, and we'll have tires that maybe have 2 laps on them or something, and we'll run the majority of practice, and that's when we really work on our race stuff. We're all completely race trim. We're making adjustments to see what the car's doing, how's it reacting. Qualifying basically is just 2 laps by yourself on the track. You have 2 laps to put down your best lap, and obviously the person who puts the fastest lap down wins the pole or starts first in the race. Depending on the track, some tracks you don't want to go out early because the track's not fast enough. Some tracks you do. Some tracks it doesn't matter. Certain tracks like Loudon, New Hampshire really does matter because we go right after the Cup cars, and their rubber and our rubber don't really mix together. And also, sometimes you'll go out early and you have cloud cover, and cloud cover leads to more grip on the track. Once the track cools down, there's more grip, which makes the track faster.
That does it for day one at Stafford. The team has made adjustments to the car, practice, and qualified in the 16th position for the race tomorrow. Now it's time to go home, get some rest, and get ready to go green 24 hours from now. The crew takes the morning to get the race car ready for NASCAR inspection. Every car must go through tech and be inspected by NASCAR officials to make sure each car is following all rules and regulations.
They check everything from wheelbase to spoiler height. They check the compression in your motor to make sure that it's legal. Each cubic inch of the motor has a weight break, so bigger the cubic inch, more weight you have to have on your race car. They check all that more stuff. They check all the safety stuff. Everything needs to be dated. Every suit needs to be certified to a highest fire retardant extent. Now the Hans devices and your gloves and everything can't be older than 5 years. They've actually told guys you can't race. Guys have showed up not knowing. They said you have to go buy a new Hans device so you can't race. So it's that serious now, and it's the right thing to do. So they check everything. You look at the race car, they check it.
I'm completely nervous before the race. I'm like that in every sport I've ever done, but the minute we start the engines, it all goes away. So I think that really attributes to the success we have.
Crowded streets are cleared away, one by one. Hollow heroes.
Every time we have 1 lap to go before the race, I just come on the radio and just tell everybody, we're the best team here, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be.
All right, team, let's have a good race today. Be safe up the road. Let's get a good finish here, bud. There's nobody better than us today. Let's prove it, all right? Let's go. Get ready. Get ready. Green, green, green.
So cold that you cannot cope with a frozen heart. I guess we blow apart. I guess it from the start. Staying sharp.
Losing grip up off. The track's getting greasier and greasier. I'm not the only one sliding. You really got to baby the throttle. Can't put the left front under the apron.
Staying shallow.
Communication is the biggest part of it. It's like any other sport when you're talking to your teammates or your coaches. You got to all be on the same page. If one person's not on the same page as the team, you're not going to do well. I always say if you look in the mirror, you're slowing down. So I never look in the mirrors, and that's what the spotter's for. She's supposed to tell you what's going on around you. If you're passing somebody, if they're on the inside, the outside of you, just different things. They're the eyes that you can't have in the race car.
Go high, go high. Crashing.
Okay, we're going to short pit here. You're going to have to take care of your stuff, all right?
It's open, coming down.
Come on now. Right here. Stop.
It comes away again, I can't control it. Hiding under the bed, in my body, in my head. Why won't somebody come and save me from this? Make it end. I feel it deep within, it's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become, the nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster.
We had a good car. We qualified decent mid-pack, and we were really just coming up through. We were up to 10th by the time we pitted. We decided a short pit, which means that we'll pit before everybody else does. That way when they pit, we'll take over track position. Little did we know that the right front shock was really starting to come apart inside. And as the run went on, it got worse and worse. And by the end, the car was so loose, I was just holding on. And it's sad to think that we still finished 13th with a car like that. Imagine where we would have been if we had a car that didn't have a bad right front shock. I think we would have had a top 5 car. There's no doubt in my mind.
Richie and the rest of the Hurricane Motorsports team ended the season off with a 13th place finish at Stafford Motor Speedway. Despite their issues with the right front shock, the team still raced hard. The future is only looking up for this team on the Wheel and Modified Tour as they look to continue their success next season.